our world of review number 8, SAT words to 4 bulls. You'll find out why at the end. So let's get this started with. Number 1, circumspect, which is an adjective that basically, ouch, that basically means cautious. And so how do you become cautious anyway? Well, like this. Well, that's just an example of being circumspect. Circumspect actually, other than the word that actually makes it mean cautiousness, it also actually goes ahead to say like being a circumspect person is a cautious person who might sometimes overreact, but those are really rare circumstances. And so circumspect, you remember it with inspect. I would like to remember it like Jim the inspector was a really circumspect person. But in the book it says Jim was being circumspect as he was himself, inspected the food with precise caution and all laboratory data. Number 2, abstract, an adjective that basically means really not meaning what it is, like not clear. Like the app, like let's say that there are 2 things, land and the sea, and some of that part is there's a little phasey line, there's like a fadey line about the border, because you have no idea like what's the difference between water and the earth on our earth, because our water is everywhere on the earth and earth is almost everywhere on the earth too. So the confusing thing is, what's the boundary? That's the abstract part. And so you remember abstract with contract. Be wary of salesmen who give you abstract contracts. What's a contract? Basically a form you sign so that, hey, it says, hey, this is yours. And then it also shows what you have to do by signing this contract. And if you don't do that, basically it's mine now again. Yeah, this is really annoying. Number 3, defunct. Defunct is an adjective that basically means, well, to be kicked out, like new generation, the defunct version, the defunct ways of, let me give you an example, like the defunct junk. Junks are really defunct, that means they're really old-fashioned. Or, in other words, they're out of date. Unless you can time travel, you probably always eventually be defunct. And so you remember defunct with junk. How? Like this. The Chinese junks, what's a Chinese junk? It's like an old ship that the Chinese used to try to fight in the Opium Wars. Like those big flagships with the red sails. But eventually it was too defunct compared to the British Navy steel ships. So yeah, wood versus steel would most likely win. Unless wood is going fast enough, but it would shatter itself too. And the Chinese don't want to shatter themselves. Anyway, speaking of which, the Chinese junks were really defunct compared to modern technologies. Number 4, succinct. It's an adjective that basically means brief but to the point. Like clunking your head 3 times. It's not that clear, but it is really effective when it comes to like trying to get that person to know, hey, stop doing that. Like, ow, what? Yeah. And now you remember succinct with sync. Emma was succinct when it came to telling Edward that he did not fix the sink. Imagine a picture of a girl named Emma, I don't know how you pronounce it, that's up to you, smashing a broken sink onto Edward's head while he's trying to read a newspaper and like, smack, yeah, that is going to be really gruesome. Number 5, palpable, an adjective that basically means to be allowed to be touched or felt. So a palpable person, or in this case, a palpable cat, will be a cat that lets himself be touched and felt. And so you remember palpable with pal the bull, okay? And how do you do that? Well, you remember palpable with pal the bull. Like our pal, the bull, was really palpable. That's how you remember it. And next up, we have number 6, accountable, an adjective that basically means you're the one responsible for this. Like, you're accountable for keeping care of the cat. Means you didn't take care of the cat. That means you were accountable for not taking care of the cat. You were responsible for not taking care of the cat. And so, punishment. You remember accountable of Count the Bull. Jim the accountant, remember from last episode, was accountable for counting the bulls and sending everything to the world, which like one data list per person in the whole entire world, which is about 8 billion people. Number 7, ostensible, which is an adjective that basically means this. Ostensible, sensible, like yeah, I'm not really sure how you're supposed to even get through all this. An ostensible person would probably be a person who is not caring of whatever's happening to him. Like, yeah, I mean, okay, so let me go to the linked words right now. Sensible, ostensible. That ostensible person is not sensible at all. Number 8, pliable! Now, have you ever read the myth Icarus? Like, yay, I'm gonna fly through sun! Oh, my wings! Hi! Yeah. Well, here we go. Pliable. Pliable basically means to be easily convinced of something. Remember that time we talked about another word that is like easily convinced or fooled into believing something? Yeah? Well, that's the base of the same thing as pliable. Pliable. Do not be pliable because you need facts. Don't be easily persuaded by anything unless there are like a bajillion facts that are from credible sources that have been right millions of times before or have never been wrong. So that probably never exists. I've been wrong a few times. So I see it in 10. Sometimes. Not sure though. Alright. So how do you remember pliable? You remember pliable with fly boom. Remember Icarus? I gotta fly to the sun. No, my wings. Yeah, I didn't drown. So the pliable bull thought that he could fly. No, don't actually think you can fly just because you made a costume that has wings on it. Number 9, adroit, and it's an adjective. And you remember it with Detroit. The Detroit. Adroit basically means, okay, let me skip this. Is a prefix that means not. And droit, well, it's the same thing as the Detroit. And a droit place. Okay, let me go back here. Adroit, Detroit. And adroit Detroit is basically people in Detroit being really, really, really skillful. So adroit basically means skillful. That seems counterintuitive because basically means not. So here we go again. Adroit, skillful, Detroit is just a place. People in Detroit are really adroit, makes that people really, really skillful. Number 10, baubles. This is the only noun we have here today. And here, it basically means a cheap ornament, like the ones you put on Christmas trees for like decoration, because you don't want to spend all your money, and the money you do have for Christmas, you want to spend it on gifts, because I put this cat on Christmas. Yay! Now, so how do you remember bauble? You remember it with bull. Get it now, what I said at the beginning of the video? I'll say it at the end. Bauble, bull. The bull with a bottle on its tail. And imagine a bull with a Christmas ornament stuck on its tail. Don't actually think of a pin on its tail, though. That's a donkey. You're thinking of a donkey if you're going to think about that. And that's the end. Did you get what I meant by the 4 bulls? No? Well, here we go. The first bull, pal the bull. The second bull, count the bulls. The third bull, fly bull. Impossible, though. Unless you like high-tech stuff. Number 4, the bull. Harness! See? 4 bulls. Technically 8 because I just said them aloud. So that's the end of today's episode. I hope to see you guys soon in another episode of Hanchon Sean. And so until then, Shnan out. Why is this not going? Peace. Why are there no vocabulary word lists with 4 cats or 5 cats in them? Why are you guys still here? Say bye-bye. Da 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 da.